Hi, welcome to the channel. In this short tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do the one-way ANOVA in SPSS. Now, first of all, you need to understand that the one-way ANOVA is used when you have more than 3 groups and you want to compare means between the 3 groups. So, to do the one-way ANOVA, there are just a few things you need to get right. Now, first of all, you need to have your data well set up. Now, if you don't know how to enter your data, there's a video up there that teaches you the basics of SPSS and the fundamentals that you need to understand, how to enter data and how to name your variables. So, first of all, you need to understand that you have to need just 2 basic columns. Now, the first column represents the independent variable, which in this case is group, which is in 5 levels. So, if you look, you find that we have 12 subjects in each of 5 levels, which gives us a total of 60 subjects. Now, the second column represents the dependent variable, which is what we are going to measure. Now, if you go to the variable view, you will find a couple of things. So, the group, which is the independent variable, is in nominal scale, and the MDA, which is what we want to measure or what we have measured and want to find out the difference in the mean per group, is in the scale measure. So, we return to that. Now, if you've done that, essentially, that's all there is to do. Once your data is well set up, you are good to go. So we're going to go to Analyze, and under Analyze, we go to Compare Means, and we look for one-way ANOVA, which is the last thing there. Once you are in this dialog box, you are almost there. So the factor here represents the independent variable, which in this case is group. So we'll just send our group there. And then what we want to measure and find out if there's a difference in the mean of that parameter is the MDA. We want to know if the 5 levels of group is going to show a difference in terms of their MDA value. So, hypothetically, are the means of the 5 groups the same? That's what your hypothesis is. So, if you notice, you find that I cannot OK it to run the analysis because the setup is not yet complete. So, I take my MDA and put it right here. Now, it's important to know that you can have even 50 parameters or whatever number of parameters, and you can run the one-way ANOVA for all of them at the same time, as long as you're using the same grouping factor or the same independent variable. Now, we are good to go. However, I'd like to show you 1 or 2 things you can actually do, although we are going to do only one of them in this particular tutorial. So if you go to Options, you are going to find a lot of things you can do there, including running a homogeneity or variance test and doing Brown-Forsyth test, Welch test, and you can also have a mean plot. You can actually have plots that's a line plot that connects all the means of all the 5 groups. But for this purpose, we're going to select just the descriptive and we say continue. Now you can also go to post hoc test and select a post hoc test. But in this particular tutorial, we're not going to be talking about post hoc test. We just want to run the basic ANOVA. So everything is good to go, and all we need to do is click on OK, and SPSS runs it in a few seconds and brings us to this output window. Now, in this output window, you can see the basic statistics of the groups. So what we have here is our 5 groups, which we had named: vehicle, control, and all of that. 5 groups, each of them having 12 subjects. Now you can see the mean of each of the group, the standard deviation, the standard error, the lower bound, upper bound, minimum and maximum values for each of the group. Now this is where the real thing goes. This is the most important table for you to look at, which is the ANOVA table. Now the ANOVA table here is telling us something very important. The 2 most important things to figure out here are the F value and the SIG value. But more important is the SIG. The SIG value shows 0.000. That shows that it is highly significant. For this particular instance, we can say clearly that there is a significant difference in the means of all of these 5 groups. In other words, at least 2 of the groups differ in means significantly. However, the ANOVA test itself does not tell us exactly which group differs from what. And that's where we're going to need to talk about the post hoc test. In another video, we're going to be talking about post hoc tests. If you have enjoyed this video, do subscribe, like, and share, and turn on the notification button so that you can get updated are notified when new videos pop up.